Amara did not lose her husband to another woman. She lost him while still married to him. Every Sunday, she watched him laugh with Zara at church. He never laughed like that with her anymore. At home, he barely looked up from his phone. But when Zara called, his whole face changed. People started to notice. Her own sister pulled her aside one day and whispered, "Are you okay with this?" Amara smiled and said nothing. She had been taught that a good wife does not complain. She had been taught that silence keeps a home together. So she stayed quiet. Until one decision destroyed everything. If you're watching this video, please like, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments where you're watching my folktale story from. I want to know how far it has traveled. Amara was raised by her grandmother in a small village. The old woman had strong beliefs about marriage. She would say, "A woman who talks too much chases her husband away. A woman who endures will be blessed." Amara learned to swallow her words. Even when things hurt, she smiled. Even when she felt invisible, she served. Her grandmother told her stories of women who lost everything because they could not keep quiet. So Amara grew up believing that silence was her strength. When she married Chaik, she thought her patience would make him love her more. She thought if she never complained, he would see how good she was. But silence does not always protect you. Sometimes, it only makes space for someone else to step in. Chaik was a successful businessman. He owned 3 shops in the city and drove a nice car. Everyone respected him. Amara was proud to be his wife. But Chaik had a best friend named Zara. They had known each other since university. Zara was loud and confident. She always had something to say. She was the opposite of Amara. At first, Amara did not mind. She thought it was good that Chaik had friends. But slowly, Zara became too comfortable. She started coming to their house without calling first. She sat in Amara's seat at the dining table. She laughed at private jokes with Chaik. And Chaik never corrected her. He never set boundaries. Amara felt something was wrong, but she did not know how to say it without sounding jealous. The first betrayal warning came at a family gathering. Chaik's mother was celebrating her birthday. Everyone was there. Amara had cooked jollof rice and fried chicken for hours. She wanted everything to be perfect. But when she brought the food out, Chaik barely looked at her. Then Zara arrived. She was wearing a bright red dress and gold earrings. Chaik's face lit up immediately. He stood up and hugged her. He said, "Finally, the life of the party is here." Amara froze. His own mother gave her a strange look. Zara walked straight to Chaik's side and sat down. She started serving him food as if Amara was not even there. Amara wanted to say something. But her grandmother's voice echoed in her head. So she smiled and said nothing. After that day, things got worse. Zara started calling Chaik every morning. She would send him funny videos and he would laugh out loud. But when Amara tried to talk to him, he barely responded. One evening, Amara cooked his favorite soup. She set the table nicely with candles. She wanted to surprise him. But when Chaik came home, he was on the phone with Zara. He sat down and ate without even noticing the candles. He kept laughing at whatever Zara was saying. Amara sat across from him, watching him smile at someone else. When he finally hung up, she asked softly, "Do you still love me?" He looked annoyed. He said, "Why are you always so dramatic? Zara is just my friend. Stop being insecure." Amara apologized. She did not bring it up again. Amara began to feel like a stranger in her own home. Chaik stopped asking about her day. He stopped complimenting her cooking. He even stopped sitting with her in the evenings. Instead, he was always texting Zara. One Saturday, Amara suggested they go to the market together. She missed spending time with him. But Chaik said he was busy. Later that afternoon, she saw his car parked outside a restaurant. She walked closer and looked through the window. Chaik was sitting with Zara. They were laughing and sharing food. Amara stood there for a long time, watching them. Her chest felt tight. Her hands were shaking. But she did not go inside. She did not make a scene. She walked back home quietly. When Chaik returned that night, she asked where he had been. He said he was working. She knew he was lying. Their wedding anniversary was coming soon. Amara wanted to make it special. She wanted to remind Chaik of the love they once had. She bought new candles and decorated their bedroom. She cooked all his favorite foods. She even bought a new dress. On the morning of their anniversary, Chaik woke up late. He did not wish her a happy anniversary. He just got dressed and left. Amara waited all day. She kept checking her phone, hoping he would call. By evening, she was still waiting. Then she heard his car pull up. Her heart lifted. But when the door opened, Zara walked in with him. Chaik smiled and said, "I invited Zara to join us for dinner. I hope you don't mind." Amara felt her world crack open. But she smiled and said, "Of course not." During dinner, Zara and Chaik talked as if Amara was not there. They shared memories from university. They joked about people Amara did not know. Zara even reached over and wiped sauce from Chaik's mouth. Amara sat there silently, cutting her food into smaller and smaller pieces. She could not eat. Her throat felt too tight. At one point, Zara looked at her and said, "Amara, you're so quiet. Are you always this boring?" Chaik laughed. He actually laughed. Amara looked at him, waiting for him to defend her. But he just shook his head and said, "She's always been shy. That's just how she is." After dinner, Zara stayed for 2 more hours. When she finally left, Chaik went straight to bed. He did not say goodnight. He did not even remember it was their anniversary. The next morning, Amara woke up feeling sick. Her body was tired. Her heart was tired. She realized she had missed her monthly cycle. She bought a pregnancy test from the pharmacy and took it quietly in the bathroom. 2 lines appeared. She was pregnant. For a moment, she felt joy. Maybe this baby would bring them back together. Maybe Chaik would finally see her again. She decided to tell him that evening. She prepared his favorite meal and waited for him to come home. But when he arrived, he looked irritated. Before she could speak, he said, "I'm going out with Zara tonight. Don't wait up." Amara's voice broke. She said, "Chaik, I need to talk to you. It's important." He sighed and said, "Can it wait? I'm already late." Then he left. Amara stood there holding the test in her hand, crying. Days passed and Chaik did not come home. He sent a text saying he was staying at a hotel because of work. But Amara knew better. She tried calling him, but he did not pick up. She sent messages, but he did not reply. She felt completely alone. One afternoon, she felt sharp pains in her stomach. She tried to stand, but her legs gave out. She called Chaik again. No answer. She called Zara's number, hoping someone would help. Zara picked up. Amara said weakly, "Please, I need help. I'm pregnant and something is wrong. Can you tell Chaik?" There was a pause. Then Zara laughed softly and said, "Oh, Amara. You really think a baby will change anything? He doesn't want to be tied down by you." Then she hung up. Amara collapsed on the floor, trembling and crying. Nobody came. Amara managed to crawl to her phone and call her neighbor. The woman rushed her to the hospital. The doctors examined her and said she needed to rest immediately or she might lose the baby. They asked where her husband was. Amara had no answer. She lay in that hospital bed alone, staring at the white ceiling. Her neighbor stayed for a while, but eventually had to leave. Amara tried calling Chaik one more time. The phone rang and rang. Finally, someone picked up. But it was not Chaik. It was Zara. Her voice was calm and cold. She said, "Stop calling him. He's with me now. He doesn't want to deal with your drama." Amara whispered, "Please, just tell him I'm in the hospital. Please." Zara paused, then said, "He already knows. He just doesn't care." Then the line went dead. Amara cried until she had no tears left. 3 days later, Amara was discharged from the hospital. The doctor told her to avoid stress and rest completely. But how could she rest when her heart was breaking? She went home to an empty house. Chaik had not come back. His clothes were gone from the closet. Some of his things were missing. It was like he had erased himself from her life. That evening, her phone rang. It was Zara. Amara almost did not pick up, but something made her answer. Zara's voice was sweet, almost friendly. She said, "Amara, I think we should talk. Woman to woman. Let's meet tomorrow evening. I'll send you the location. Come alone." Amara did not trust her. But she was desperate. She needed answers. She needed to understand what was happening. So she agreed. The next evening, Amara took a bus to the address Zara had sent. It was far from the city, near a quiet lake surrounded by trees. The sun was starting to set. There were no other people around. Amara felt uneasy, but she kept walking. She saw Zara standing by the water, wearing sunglasses and a long coat. Zara turned and smiled when she saw her. She said, "I'm glad you came. I wanted us to talk honestly." Amara asked, "Where is Chaik?" Zara shrugged and said, "He'll come later. But first, you and I need to clear the air." They walked along the path by the lake. Zara talked casually about the weather, about life. But Amara could feel something was wrong. The air felt heavy. The trees were too quiet. She wanted to leave, but Zara kept walking deeper into the forest. Finally, Zara stopped walking. She turned to face Amara. Her smile was gone. She said, "Do you want to know the truth, Amara? Chaik never really loved you. He married you because you were easy to control. You never asked questions. You never demanded anything. You were perfect for a man who wanted peace at home and excitement outside." Amara felt her chest tighten. She whispered, "That's not true." Zara laughed. "Oh, but it is. He loves me. He's always loved me. You were just convenient." Amara's hand started shaking. She said, "If that's true, why didn't he just marry you?" Zara stepped closer. Her eyes were cold. She said, "Because I didn't want to be trapped like you. I wanted the fun without the burden. And he gave me exactly that." Amara felt sick. She turned to walk away, but Zara grabbed her arm. Zara's grip was tight. She said, "Where do you think you're going? We're not done talking." Amara tried to pull away, but Zara was stronger than she looked. Suddenly, Zara pushed her. Amara stumbled backward, her feet slipping on the wet grass near the lake. She fell hard, her hands scraping against the rocks. Pain shot through her stomach. She gasped and held her belly, remembering the baby. Zara stood over her, breathing hard. She said, "You should have stayed quiet, Amara. You should have just accepted your place." Amara looked up at her, terrified. She tried to stand, but her body felt weak. Just then, she heard a car engine. Headlights appeared through the trees. It was Chaik's car. He parked and stepped out, looking confused. He saw Amara on the ground and Zara standing over her. He shouted, "What's going on here?" Chaik ran toward them. Amara reached out her hand, hoping he would help her up. But Zara spoke first. Her voice changed completely. She sounded scared and helpless. She said, "Chaik, thank God you're here. Amara attacked me. She's been saying terrible things. She pushed me first and I was just defending myself." Amara's eyes went wide. She said, "That's a lie. She pushed me. I'm pregnant, Chaik. I'm hurt." But Chaik looked confused. He looked between both women. Zara started crying. Real tears ran down her face. She was a good actress. Chaik went to Zara first. He put his arm around her and asked if she was okay. Amara felt her heart shatter into pieces. She was on the ground, bleeding, carrying his child, and he chose to comfort Zara. She whispered, "Chaik, please. Help me." He finally looked at her, but his eyes were cold. Chaik helped Zara to his car first. He made her sit down and gave her water. Amara was still on the ground, struggling to stand. Her stomach hurt so badly. She felt something warm running down her legs. She looked down and saw blood. Panic filled her chest. She screamed, "Chaik, I'm bleeding. The baby." That finally got his attention. He turned around and saw the blood. His face went pale. He ran back to her and tried to lift her. But it was too late. Amara felt her body going numb. She whispered, "Why did you choose her first?" Chaik had no answer. He carried her to the car and laid her in the back seat. Zara sat in the front, silent now. As they sped toward the hospital, Amara felt herself fading. The last thing she heard was Chaik shouting her name. Then everything went black. Amara woke up in a hospital bed. The room was white and cold. Her body felt empty. She touched her stomach and knew immediately. The baby was gone. A nurse came in and confirmed it quietly. She said, "I'm sorry. We tried everything." Amara did not cry. She had no tears left. She just stared at the ceiling. Hours later, Chaik walked in. His eyes were red. He looked broken. He sat down beside her bed and said, "Amara, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were pregnant. I didn't know it was that serious." Amara turned her head slowly to look at him. Her voice was calm, almost emotionless. She said, "You knew I needed you. I called you. I begged you. But you chose her." Chaik tried to take her hand, but she pulled away. He said, "I made a mistake. I'll fix this. I promise." But Amara was done listening to promises. She said, "Do you know what hurts the most, Chaik? It's not that you loved her. It's that you made me invisible. I was your wife, but I became a side chick in my own marriage. I cooked for you, waited for you, prayed for you. And you treated me like I didn't matter." Chaik started crying. He said, "I was foolish. I took you for granted. But I love you. Please forgive me." Amara shook her head. "Love is not just a word, Chaik. It's a choice you make every day. And every day, you chose her." A doctor came in and asked Chaik to leave so Amara could rest. Before he walked out, he turned and said, "I'll make this right. I swear." But Amara had already closed her eyes. She did not want to see him anymore. Days passed in the hospital. Amara's sister came to visit. She cried when she saw how thin and pale Amara had become. She said, "I'm taking you home with me. You're not going back to that house." Amara nodded. She had no strength to argue. When she was finally discharged, her sister packed her things from Chaik's house. Chike tried to stop them. He begged Amara to stay. He said Zara meant nothing to him now. He said he had ended things with her. But Amara did not believe him anymore. She looked at him one last time and said, "You taught me something important, Chike. Silence is not strength. It's surrender. I stayed quiet because I thought it would save us. But all it did was give you permission to hurt me." Then she walked out of his life. Chike stood in the doorway, watching her leave, knowing he had lost her forever. Amara moved in with her sister and slowly began to heal. It was not easy. Some days she could not get out of bed. Some nights she cried herself to sleep. But her sister was patient. She reminded Amara that she was strong. She reminded her that she deserved better. Weeks turned into months. Amara started going to church again. She joined a small business group for women. She learned how to sew and started making clothes. Slowly, she found her voice again. She realized she had spent so many years trying to be small and quiet. She had believed that being silent made her a good woman. But now she understood the truth. Silence without boundaries is not peace. It is slow destruction. She began to speak up. She began to set limits. And for the first time in years, she felt free. Meanwhile, Chike's life was falling apart. After Amara left, Zara stayed with him for a while. But without Amara to compete with, Zara lost interest. She had enjoyed the game, the secret, the power. But being with Chike openly was boring to her. One day, she simply packed her things and left. She said, "You're too needy now. I don't do drama." Chike was alone. His business started suffering because he could not focus. His friends noticed the change in him. His mother called and scolded him. She said, "You had a good woman and you threw her away for nothing." Chike tried to reach out to Amara many times. He sent messages. He sent flowers. He even showed up at her sister's house. But Amara refused to see him. She had moved on. She was building a new life, and he was not part of it. 2 years passed. Amara's sewing business grew. She now had 3 employees and her own shop. She was confident and happy. She had learned to love herself again. One Saturday afternoon, she was at the market buying fabric when she saw him. Chike was standing near a fruit stand, looking older and tired. Their eyes met. He walked toward her slowly. He said, "Amara. You look good." She smiled politely. "Thank you." There was an awkward silence. Then Chike said, "I think about you every day. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I want you to know I'm sorry. Truly sorry." Amara looked at him calmly. She felt nothing. No anger. No pain. Just peace. She said, "I forgive you, Chike. Not because you deserve it, but because I deserve to be free." Then she walked away. This time, she did not look back. As Amara walked through the market, she felt lighter than she had in years. She had spent so long carrying the weight of silence, of trying to hold a marriage together by herself. But now she understood something her grandmother never taught her. Endurance is not the same as strength. Staying is not always love. Sometimes, the bravest thing a woman can do is walk away. She thought about all the women who had been told to stay quiet, to endure, to sacrifice themselves for peace. She thought about how many women lose themselves trying to keep others comfortable. And she made a promise to herself. She would never be silent again. Not when something hurt her. Not when someone disrespected her. Not when her peace was being stolen. She would speak. She would set boundaries. She would choose herself. And that was not selfish. That was survival. Amara's story spread through her community. Women came to her shop not just to buy clothes, but to talk. They shared their own stories of silent suffering. Amara listened to each one. And she always said the same thing: your voice matters. Your pain is real. Don't wait until you lose yourself to start fighting for yourself. She never married again, but she was not lonely. She had her business, her friends, her sister, and most importantly, herself. She had learned that a woman does not need a man to be complete. She just needs to remember her own worth. Years later, she heard that Chaik had remarried, but his new wife left him too. Some people never learn. But Amara had learned. And she had transformed her pain into power. She had become the woman she needed when she was suffering. And that was the greatest victory of all. The story you have just heard is a beautiful African tale I heard long ago. I'm telling you to wake your minds to the truth that silence is not always golden. Sometimes, silence is simply surrender. If you were Amara, what would you have done differently? Would you have spoken up sooner, or would you have stayed quiet hoping things would change? I want to know your opinion because every story is like a candle that can light the path for someone else. Remember, a woman who knows her worth will never settle for crumbs at her own table. God bless you, and may courage guide your hands. Meanwhile, on the final screen, I am leaving you with one of the channel's most beloved folktales. I am sure you'll love it. Thank you for staying with me until this moment.